Hello everybody, today I have a great question from one of my students from the Next Level Power Drops program that we're running right now. And the question was so great that I thought it would be very useful for me to share it with everyone. And as the program is running for the whole year, it is quite a specific questions, don't get scared. But I just think it will be beneficial for people to hear it because it might be something that other people are wondering as well or are coming to that point. And I hope you enjoyed the video. I'm looking forward to your comments below. If it opened up some new questions, if it answered some of your questions or opened up some new points of view, I'm very curious how you're enjoying it. So let me know below and tell me what you want to hear more about. So I'm going to read her question word for word. I was really surprised to see that angelica root and frankincense essential oil have quite a lot of monoterpenes, similar to juniper berry, which is for me very stimulating oil. I usually use the first two for grounding, sedative, and antidepressant properties, and would not expect them to fall in the same category as juniper berry or other citrus oils. How to explain that some are more sedative and some more stimulating? Is it because the little guys, as you say, make all the difference? And then how to generalize if the little guys can make such a big difference? So first of all, let me tell you, when she says little guys, what I mean is the chemical components that are such a small percentage that sometimes we tend to not look at them, their properties or, their contribution. But when in fact they can really affect the synergy, and we don't know how much. For example, just a drop of camozoline in yarrow, for example, makes it is beautiful blue color. So it is quite significant, everything that is in the oil. This is what I teach. So let me compare these oils that she's talking about in Dropsmith, and then it will be easier to answer all the questions one for one. So let's look at them. First, angelica root. So we just choose anyone. Let's choose the first one. And then she was talking about frankincense. And here I'd like to point out, and let's look at more items, that frankincense, be careful which one you use, because as you can see, there are different species. So do check out the Latin name as well. And with the Latin name, it can be confusing also because they are synonyms. So you might be actually talking about the same essential oil, but in fact just using the different Latin names. So these are some things to watch out for if you're using oils as teaching or selling, to make sure that you're aware of this. And let's compare. And the third one she was talking about is juniper. And with juniper, do note that there's a lot of junipers, and there the species, tons of different species. And not only that, but she is talking about Juniperus communis, which is the typical one we would expect to use. But here we also have, depending on which plant part is distilled, we have different oils, and then of course that affects the properties as well. So she's talking about juniper berry, and we can choose one. Here's one. And she mentioned here that they fall in the same category as juniper berry or other citrus oils. So let's just take one citrus, just so you see what she's talking about. So when you search, you can search for the common name or Latin name, or for properties, whatever. The search box is really awesome. So let's just choose the first one here, an orange. See, let's compare. And she was quite right. They're all rich in monoterpenes. And her question is how to generalize them, Well, don't. Don't generalize, at least not too much. We generalize what we actually can. And in case of monoterpenes, what you definitely can be sure of is that oils rich in monoterpenes will oxidize quickly. And why is that? That's because monoterpenes are very tiny molecules that like to evaporate very quickly. They have no oxygen in them. So be careful here with storage, for example. That means you need to take more care of these oils that are rich in monoterpenes as to shelf life, as to once they oxidate, they can irritate the skin more. They are tiny, so they will penetrate the skin very quickly as well. So this is something that you can kind of generalize. Also, because they evaporate very quickly, that tells us that these are all going to have top notes within them. But do know with essential oils, it's not so simple. As they do have top notes, these ones contain quite a chunk of sesquiterpenes, which are heavier molecules. So it's beautiful with essential oils is that you get sometimes notes within notes. So as we will generalize that these are probably top notes because of the dominance of monoterpenes, you will have some molecules in there that will prolong the smell itself. So, or you smell different things as the oil evaporates. That's a whole other topic that I can talk about for hours, but let's not get into that because you're going to get totally sidetracked. So these are the things that you can generalize. But when we're talking about properties, the properties they have on our physical body or mind, let's not do that. Let's stick to the research. And research is done here, for example, on the essential oils as a synergy. So, for example, all of them were found to be antibacterial. They might have been tested on different, bacteria. So do check that out. Do know how this was done. Was it in vitro, in vivo? Is it relevant to you? So this is for the properties, scientifically proven properties for the essential oil as a synergy, as a whole. So for angelica roots, frankincense, juniper berry, sweet orange, these are the things for the whole synergy. But we are looking at chemical components today, so we will focus on that. What you can see is here a pattern, you might notice, that most of these oils that are rich in monoterpenes all have these safety recommendation that there's possibility of skin sensitization if oxidized. So this is connected to the oils being rich in monoterpenes as a general. So this is something you can generalize, and it's great because it's a safety recommendation. And whenever you see an oil with a large portion of monoterpenes, you can already know that you're going to be careful about the storage, the oxidation, penetration to the skin, the smell of it, that the smell will not last long. So these are some things that you can generalize. But we're interested in these little guys here, but their properties. So I will scroll down to the properties of the chemical components because it will be easier for us to compare it that way. And she's mentioning that she uses the first two oils, angelica root and frankincense, for grounding, sedative, and antidepressant properties. So let's see how many chemical components here have been found antidepressant, for example. And here we have that. And as you see, these are our monoterpenes, all three of these. And interestingly, with the juniper berry, it is not far behind. So here we have 30 different monoterpenes that add up to a little bit over 18% that have been found antidepressant. And here we also have a bit of enol, which is an alcohol. So we have, again, the same components, which is nice. You see how these repeat. And of course, our sweet orange is winning here because limonene has been found antidepressant. So your choice would be orange, actually. But are you surprised? See that with juniper berry, it's not so far behind. So this is the point I would like to, show, not only with the chemical components, but in general, that we might use our essential oils always for the same things, whereas there's, huge potential here. We cannot say that just because there's 15% of chemical components that have been proven antidepressant are going to make frankincense antidepressant, but the potential is there. So this is what I would like to show with calculating the percentages of the properties of the chemical components. It's a new step, I hope, helping this community to move forward and finding out some new cool things. So the next thing what she was talking about is the sedative. So let's find that, see how much potential we have here. So sedative, and again, not such a crazy big potential here. And interestingly, juniper berry is actually leading. So we have almost 9% here of chemical components that are sedative, whereas these ones have less. So think about that. As I always mention, you need to look at everything. Not only, definitely not generalize the chemical groups, but look into what the little guys tell us, how they add up, where is the potential in the oil. For example, as we saw with the sweet orange, as it has a lot of limonene, it's quite predictive, over 90%. These guys are like having quite a cocktail in there. So I compare the properties of the chemical components and then like to compare them to the properties of the essential oil as a whole. What research already has for us. Where do they come together? What can we look for more? Especially with some juniper species, we have no research at all or information in therapeutic use. But if you look at how these oils have been used traditionally, for example, all 4 of them have been recommended for anxiety from different authors. Here we also have research, not just authors. So they do come together at some points. Also, definitely all of them have been recommended. Here we have 3 out of 4 for insomnia, for if you have trouble sleeping, for nervousness, and then definitely for relaxation. Interestingly, Angelica is not, we haven't found any information that in aromatherapy books or journals. Stress, so to answer your question, definitely you can use juniper berry for all these, for stress relief, to calm you down, to bring some relaxation in you. It has been used like this with many aromatherapists around the world. So I hope I answered all the questions, first of all, and I'm sure I raised the new ones, but that's the point as well, to keep you going, keep you moving forward, to keep searching together, because these oils are more complex than some of us would like to admit, and that's the beauty of it. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know if you liked it, and if it helped you figure out some things. I wish you all a wonderful day, and talk to you soon.